Hello, and welcome to the ABCs of Work-Study Professionalism, how college students can set themselves up for success at LR and beyond. This video is facilitated by the Alex Lee Career and Professional Development Center. My name is Katie Woolman. I'm your career counselor, and all of my contact information will be available at the end of the video. The goals for today's informational video are to first and foremost define professionalism. What is this word that we're speaking of? That's a helpful way to get started in knowing how to be professional. Then we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important as a college student, perhaps in your work-study position, and why it might matter for later. We're going to explore mindsets, attitudes, and behaviors that lead to workplace success, and understand what embracing diversity and inclusion looks like as a part of our professionalism. So let's get started with defining professionalism. A lot of times it's one of those words that we know what it means, but it can be hard to put it into words to define it. So let's look at some quotes to get started with. Professional is not a label you give yourself, it's a description you hope others will apply to you. Professionalism, it's not the job you do, it's how you do the job. A professional is someone who can do his best work when he doesn't feel like it. It's not about having the skill to do something. It's about having the will, desire, and commitment to be your best. Professionalism is an attitude, not a time commitment. Professionalism is a frame of mind, not a paycheck. These quotes can be helpful in thinking about what professionalism feels like, looks like, and is in terms of soft skills. A really good basic definition of professionalism is professionalism generally refers to the standards and expectations set for employees in the workplace. These include expectations regarding appearance and behavior, as well as performance standards. So we're going to get into why it's even important for you as a college student to think about professionalism. You are your own brand. And that's really helpful to think about. I think even more important than that is that professionalism, acting professional, makes work more enjoyable for you and everyone around you. Your reputation, your brand, and your image, of course, are also important. As a college student, you're building your professional brand and your image and your reputation. So the more that you can behave professionally, the better your brand will be. That's important because as a work-study student, you're making all sorts of new connections and you're expanding your network. Networking is still how most people get their jobs in this country. So it's really smart of you to make positive networking connections now, even with a work-study supervisor that you don't anticipate staying in touch with in the future. They can be your catalyst to that next position after graduation, that scholarship, or that other opportunity that you might be pursuing. Another important reason why professionalism matters is that you now represent Lenoir-Rhyne University, not only as a student, but as a work-study student. In your role, you may be greeting visitors, you may be working with people who are not from Lenoir-Rhyne, and their interactions with you help them form an opinion of Lenoir-Rhyne in general. So you represent the brand, you want to represent it well. You're more likely to be perceived as a leader if you behave professionally. Most folks like to think of themselves as a leader, but only those who behave in the ways that we are going to talk about throughout this video are really as likely to be perceived as leaders from others. If we practice professionalism now, that's really going to help us build habits for lifelong success. and possibly a higher salary. And I'll get into that later. So let's dive into the A in ABCs of Professionalism. When we talk about this, we're talking about behaviors that happen in person and virtually. More and more work is happening in a virtual format, and so all of these concepts can be applied in that space as well. So when we think about A, we're thinking about our attitude, our attire, and arriving on time to work. What does this look like? So when you have mastered the A in the ABCs of Professionalism, you're showing up on time, maybe even a little bit early. You display a great attitude. You're willing to work even if you don't really feel like it, like that other quote said. You are coachable. You are open to receiving feedback and direction from your supervisor and your coworkers. And you're dressing respectfully. In our work study settings, we may not need to wear professional attire necessarily or business casual attire. However, I encourage you to dress respectfully, meaning no holes in your clothing when you show up for work study. All of your private areas are covered very well, and you are taking care with presenting yourself in a respectful way to others. That can even mean making sure that your hair is dry before you show up to work, making sure that you are well groomed, you've put on deodorant, you've taken some time to respect yourself in getting ready for your workday. What this doesn't look like, we do not want to come in late frequently and leave early for work. Will be perceived as unreliable or unresponsible or immature. Being late once in a while is going to happen. We're all human beings. However, we do not want to make that a chronic habit or become known for it. We don't want to show up to work and be the grumpy one or be the one who snaps and snips at our colleagues and our coworkers and our supervisor. We want to avoid bringing our personal drama to the workplace. We all have personal lives. They're very important. However, we do not want to dump our personal issues, challenges, and problems upon our coworkers or supervisors. That can be very, very draining to them, even if it seems like they're supporting us and listening. We do want to have outlets. We want to have people that we're able to talk to, and sometimes those people can be our coworkers, but we don't want to constantly bring our drama in every single day. We do not want to display a sense of entitlement. We don't want to act like we deserve or are entitled to having a cushy job or not having to do the hard work like our coworkers might be having to do. We also don't want to complain and whine and gripe. There's a difference between advocating for yourself and complaining all the time. So certainly, if you feel like that you need something to do your job well, or that your job setting, your work setting is not ideal, and you have an idea to share with your supervisor, that's positive. That can be great. But we don't want to always be complaining, whining, or griping. I will tell you, especially this year, there are less jobs on campus. So if you have one, be grateful for it. Having an attitude of gratitude will go a long way. Let's talk about the B in the ABCs of professionalism. We want to behave kindly, do our best, and be responsible for ourselves. So what this looks like is we want to follow the platinum rule. Maybe you've heard of the golden rule, and this is the idea that we want to treat others how we want to be treated. That's a great rule. An even better rule is the platinum rule. This states that we want to treat others how they want to be treated. So it takes empathy into account, not treating others as we might want to be treated, but understanding how they want to be treated, especially if it's different from us. So for instance, an extrovert, someone who's very outgoing and likes a lot of attention, might want to lavish attention on an employee that did something really well at work. Let's say that employee is an introvert. They don't like attention. They don't want all eyes on them. So rather than lavishing that person with attention, we want to understand where they might be coming from, and we want to reward and respect them in the way that they would respond to best. A private one-on-one conversation about how well they're doing, maybe a small gift card to their favorite store. So following the platinum rule means that we are empathizing with others and we are treating them as they want to be treated. Great rule to have for not only in a working situation, but definitely if you're in a position of leadership. We want to extend grace and embrace gratitude whenever possible. So we want to be understanding of others and be grateful for the opportunities that we've been given. We want to give our best effort. So again, we want to lead with being excellent, doing our best in every way that we can. I'll be honest with you, that doesn't mean striving for perfection. And your best may look different on a Monday than it would on a Friday. Your best will look different depending on the amount of sleep you've had the night before. That's okay. But we want to give our best effort for that particular day. We also want to admit mistakes. Again, we want to be responsible for our own actions. Everyone makes mistakes. We are all human beings. We need to admit to them and work toward a solution and learn from them. Mistakes are great teachers. We want to praise others. If you see a coworker or even a supervisor doing something that is great, tell them so. Thank them or praise them for something that you see that they were doing well. Folks really respond well to positive reinforcement. What this doesn't look like, we do not want to gossip at work. That's not kind behavior. It can be so tempting to gossip about our supervisor or our coworkers. However, that just breeds negative energy in the workplace. And you can believe that if someone is gossiping about someone else to you, they're very likely gossiping about you to other people. So don't fall into the trap of getting into the workplace gossip. We don't want to slack off. Again, there are going to be days where we're going to have more energy than others, but we want to do our best every single day. We do not want to have a reputation as someone who slacks. We don't want to blame others. So again, admit our mistakes, learn what we can, and move on. Great leaders adopt this attitude. They do not blame others. They take responsibility for their own actions. We don't want to intentionally exclude anyone. We don't want to lose patience with others. I will say that it is much easier to extend grace, embrace gratitude, and have patience when you've given yourself plenty of self-care time, when you've had a good night's sleep, when you've eaten nutritional foods, and when you've exercised on a regular basis. Everyone has different methods for keeping themselves cared for, self-care. However, good sleep, nutrition, and food, good food, are great ways that all of us can take better care of ourselves. When we're taking better care of ourselves, we're going to have a lot more to give to others, and we're going to be at a higher level of our best than if we're neglecting our own self. Lastly, we never want to say that's not my job. Yes, there are going to be some things that maybe you're not supposed to do or that you shouldn't do as part of your job. But you can always start with, let me see how I can help with that. Let me see what I can do. I'm not allowed to do X, but let me see how I can help you. Having an attitude of that's not my job will never get you far in the workplace. The C in ABCs: communication, character, and champion of diversity and inclusion. So what this looks like, we want to make sure that our communication is always professional, concise, clear, and has the proper tone, even when it comes down to our emails. As the career counselor on campus and someone who helps students look for work, I often receive emails that are less than professional and come from an educational perspective. I am here to help you learn and grow. And so I often respond with a sample email for students to learn what a professional and appropriate email looks like, because it's extremely important in the workplace and in college to know what a professional email looks like. That will help you make a great first impression. We do want to ask questions to clarify when we don't understand what's going on at work or even in the classroom. We want to act with integrity. We want to share our own expectations and goals. We want to communicate what is in our own minds in terms of expectations and goals for the workplace. We don't want to use slang or text speak in emails. Over time, you may develop a closer relationship with your supervisor or coworkers. And in that case, using more informal language is usually fine. But especially when communicating with our supervisor or with faculty, or especially with outside vendors as part of our work study job, we want to make sure that our emails are very professional and have a positive tone to them. We don't want to assume rather than ask. When we make assumptions, we often get things wrong. It's better to ask questions and clearly clarify what the expectations of your supervisor are. They'd much rather you ask than make a wrong assumption. We, of course, don't want to lie, cheat, or otherwise deceive anyone at work. Of course, we have our statement of integrity that everyone signs at Lenore Rhine. This extends to our work situations. We never want to misrepresent the truth in work and in life. Again, that can sometimes help you get ahead a little bit, but you're always going to get caught at some point. We want to act with integrity, and that'll take us a lot farther. We also don't want to expect others to read our minds. So again, we want to voice our expectations and our goals. If we do these things, if we display professionalism in the workplace, we're actually likely to be more promoted more frequently and earn a higher salary. So there's a great incentive for practicing these character traits now. Now, what does it look like to champion diversity and inclusion? A very important part of professionalism. We want to embrace the opportunity to collaborate with people who are different than us. A college campus can be a fabulous place to interact with people who are from different countries, different walks of life, different religious backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. So I encourage you at your workplace and in all of your interactions on our campus to embrace that opportunity that you have. We want to have a willingness to learn general practices, but we don't want to stereotype. So it's helpful in those multicultural interactions to learn about general tendencies from different cultures, but we don't want to assume that everyone from that culture or from that country does things the same way. We want to have patience and understanding for people who are different than us. For example, if someone has a disability and needs accommodations in order to do their job, we want to have patience and understanding for that situation. We want to understand the context, contextual understanding that folks come from a specific context, a specific background, and they're showing up to work with that background. We want to, before we judge and rush to judgment and prejudice, we want to understand that people are bringing that entire context to everything that they do. We want to respectfully accept others who are different than us. We want to embrace the opportunity to learn different languages and at least appreciate different languages, even if we are not great at learning new languages. We want to embrace semantic awareness. Semantic awareness is all about the words that you use and being mindful about using words that are respectful and accepting and embracing of diversity. We want to have a cultural frame of reference in our communication. So again, understanding that your workplace has a culture, every person shows up with their own culture, and we want to frame our communication with that understanding. This is something that definitely takes time and practice. So in your work study settings, this is the perfect opportunity to practice becoming a champion of diversity and inclusion. With all of these skills, you will definitely be able to say that you have nailed the whole professionalism idea. And if you would like further assistance, the Career Center is here to help. So at Lenoir-Rhyne University, we have the Alex Lee Career and Professional Development Center, physically located in the Learning Commons of Rudisill Library, virtually available via Zoom, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. My contact information is displayed. Again, my name is Katie Woolman. You can see my email address and my phone number. You can request an appointment via handshake. I often work with students and alumni on professionalism skills, increasing those attributes of professionalism, because we definitely want to set our students up for success in college and beyond. And we want you to tap into your full potential while you're here. Again, not only for future success, but while you're here at Lenoir-Rhyne. So if there's anything that we can do to help you with your professionalism or with your career, please let us know. And as always, go Bears.